So sometimes, my advice to people is that you either might be leaving this to the end so you can flag it for review in the end, or if it's, self-explaining, you make it, quickly done. But, this is not a huge exercise, but definitely helping you trigger to better understand the different concepts. Now, here is the first exercise where we're trying to match the project management method with the term. So we have the lovely orange boxes of predictive/agile. We need to match it with the blue boxes on the right-hand side. Now, normally how we run this part of the session, that there's always hopefully one or two brave volunteers who can, get started, maybe 2 or 3, one agile, one predictive, which can trigger further bonus questions from a general understanding perspective. So if there is any brave volunteer who would like to get started with this exercise. Any brave volunteer? Yes, Jay Kishan, you go first.
Business case is predictive. Scrum Master is agile.
Oh, you are very fast, my friend. So business case is predictive, and you say Scrum Master is agile, right?
Yep.
Okay, can you give me one more predictive, please?
Baseline, scope baseline, predictive.
Very good. Now, here's the bonus question to you, is that in terms of the business case, do we have a business case on agile?
It can be, because without business case, you cannot define the objective and agenda of the project.
That's a very good thinking. Now, I would say that so as such as a business case is not really exist, and as a document is not exist for agile, because what we need to understand that there is no project without business case. So waterfall, this is mandatory. Okay, so this is mandatory on waterfall, because on agile, what we have is the product
sprint
roadmap. Okay. Now the product roadmap will highlight the key features which each release will deliver, and giving the indication to the business to make sure that they understand that what to expect looking forward, and therefore that's also very much justifies the activities we do. Now you might ask the question, but okay, but what about the resources? Now, since on agile all the resources you have, they are dedicated and 100%, so therefore the issue of am I going to have the right resources, yes or no, is not really an open discussion, because they are always there, no exception. So for example, if you get someone for 50% of the time, is just really can happen on a waterfall. On agile it cannot happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Very well done, my friend. Thank you very much for helping me out with this one. And more people are also joining. Now, any brave volunteer who would like to kind of continue from here, maybe another predictive and another agile, you can raise your hand and let me know if you would like to, participate in this exercise. Yeah, I'm just checking on the chat as well. Yeah, Sasha, you can go ahead.
Hi. I will go burn down chart as agile, please.
Okay.
I will go critical path as predictive, please.
And can you do me one more? Yeah, let's do one more agile then.
Yes. We'll take the backlog for agile, please.
Very good. Now, the bonus question to you is related to this burn down chart. What is unique about the burn down chart? Do you remember what's unique about the burn down chart?
I mean, I know what it is. I know it's going to give us the velocity of the work of the team in its sprint iteration. So,
well,
not
super precisely, but what is the key unique about the burn down chart? So the burn down chart is something like this.
Can I try?
Yeah, go for it. I'll take a phone a friend.
If my memory serves me correct, this is a trace. Burn down chart shows how much work is completed against how much work remains.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, well, that's correct. So the burn down chart, so you go again here, you have, let's say, user stories or story points, you have time, and then technically this chart goes downwards where, you have the different, let's say 10 to, let's say 40 user stories, and here you have 1 to, let's say 5 days. Now, the goal is that we're reaching, somewhat zero here, And then the reality is that if you are, we all start here. If you are below the line, then you are behind. If you are above the line, you are ahead. And in some cases, if you, let's say, you're going straight, that means there is no work which have been done. So that's, I would say, in terms of the reading of it. So it's not a huge rocket science. It can be easily explained. But the key difference or the key reason on this one is that there are no names. There are no names. It's only the team. So there is no names like on a WBS or that there is a dedicated resource assigned. And if somewhere there is a blocker, you know exactly who's doing it. And then, we almost can do a blame game. That's why we're not moving forward. But here on Agile, the key differentiator, there are no names on any chart. It's actually been always the team progress and how the team is either going to glory or not going to glory. Yeah. Not sure. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense. I just didn't know what we were comparing the uniqueness of, but yes.
Because so my question was like, okay, what is special about it and what makes it special that there are no names? Because other than that, I would say it's very easy to read chart. And then the key reason why we're having this easy to read chart and on Agile, we're not overcomplicating it, because on Agile, we never send status reports out. We never ever send status reports. Instead, we're telling the people, go to, I don't know, second floor, fourth corridor. This is where we're having the information radiators. If you wanted to have an update, how things are going, you go there and have a look, because we're not sending status report, because as per PMI, status reports are only linked to waterfall, and having status reports that will be completely go against the Agile values.
Got it.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you very much for that one. Now we have 3 more left, which is 2 predictive, 1 Agile, and then we have not much left on the bottom. Anyone would like to take it from here? Maybe 1 predictive? I know, Artris, you are very knowledgeable about this subject, so maybe you can.
Oh, okay, I'll try. I won't be scared. So quality audits, let's say predictive.
Yeah, that's very well done. And can you give me
risk
the Agile next?
Agile is retrospective meeting.
Very good. And then we are left with the risk register on predictive, right?
Yes.
Okay. But before you go, bonus question. What about the risk register? Do we have a risk register on Agile?
I would say yes, because you always want to know what may happen, and there's always uncertainties.
Well, I would say there are always uncertainties, but on Agile, there is no risk register. And the main reason
is
for
because
that,
you're always adapting and being flexible with change.
Well, sort of, yes, but the nature of the job, what we do on Agile, is always software development, which means that the software development has certain varieties, but very similar every single time. Because if you think about it, each sprint, each release, we keep writing code. There is not a huge, variation between one to another, which is also exposing that, the number of risks you can have is very small or limited comparing with what you can experience on waterfall. So I would say that's one reason of that. Now, the secondary reason will be that, technically speaking, so just give me a second here. So the secondary reason is that we are not allowed to have detailed documents, which means that, if you wanted to creating a similar detailed chart you have on or detailed log which you have on waterfall, technically this is completely not allowed, because that is going against the values and the principles explanation. So but still, you're right. So there can be uncertainties through the flexibility, but still how you do it is that through the whiteboards. Because the question is that, can I put the risks on a whiteboard? Yes, I can. Is that allowed? Yes, it is. But how many whiteboards you can have for the dev team? What do you think on Agile? Is there a limit?
I mean, you don't want to have too many.
Okay, but is
there I'm sure
a limit?
I would say no, because you're always taking in feedback and changing and going through iterations. But I'm sure there's like a certain amount of iterations you can go through.
Mhm. Now, very good. This is actually a very good one because, and I would say PMI put this as a paradox because PMI is allowing you to have whiteboards, but they are not allowing you to have documents. So documents
Okay.
and plans are completely not allowed on Agile. Now, what does that supposed to mean is that, can I have 55 whiteboards in the team area? Yes, you can. Whatever they're going to put on those whiteboards will stay as is, and nobody will complain that it shouldn't be there or will be deleted. So therefore, I would say that is a paradox that they're not allowing you to create in documents, but they are actually allowing you to put anything what you want on a whiteboard, isn't it?
Okay.
Okay. But is this make sense?
Yes. And like I'm trying to, because like in my work environment, everything is like predictive.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to understand like and put real world use with the agile is definitely going to be like a change, because again, like I said, it's a budget. You don't go over that budget. The scope, like everything is literally concrete. You know, it's very,
Yeah.
very strict with it in my work environment.
Right. In that case, you need to do a little bit of deep dive on the Agile, but Agile is not as complicated. And I see Sasha also put there some commentary on from the Agile practices guys' perspective. Now, I'll say I agree with that, but here is the paradox where PMI never say that you have to have, or you can have, or you should have a risk register. So, and that's why, you can keep it on a whiteboard. But since the complexity is very similar, that we keep writing code, It's not like, one day I'm building a bridge, tomorrow I'm building a nuclear power plant. In the eyes of PMI, all those projects can be only run in a waterfall manner. So therefore, I will say that the discussion of risk management on Agile is very simple. It's happening on a daily stand-up meeting, which means that what you have done yesterday, what you plan to do today, and what is holding you back to complete today. That's the real question of where the risks are. And since everyone is just keep writing code, I mean, it's very important that even a person will say, oh, yesterday my laptop was a little bit slow using this and that application. I mean, on a waterfall project, is this a relevant information? Absolutely not, but on Agile, that is very relevant because it can happen for everyone else, because theoretically, we all do exactly the same. We keep writing code, but we keep writing different code every single time. Does that make sense with everyone? Sasha, also, is that okay? I hope I answered your question.
I think it's just complementing it, right? Like I was in the Agile practice guide, and to me, it just makes sense that if you're choosing like shorter life cycles and smaller increments of work, then you're going to mitigate high risk because, as our colleague said, right, low tech, high touch. So when we're looking at small bits of work at a time, it can decrease the amount of uncertainty in the work itself because it's in a way, it's almost a more controlled environment because it's iterative.
But I mean, PMI will never like to say the word controlled. Is more flexible on the sense that we have boundaries. So for example, if I set a duration for a release, I never change it. If I set a duration of a sprint, I'm not changing it. Same as with the velocity, because again, they never really like to call them processes, but they are on some extent processes. And then, the comparison is always with waterfall, because the waterfall idea, having project management plan, which is a collection of plans, which if the question does not say so, you always need to with the assumption that if we talk about 18 plans. Now, comparing that 18 plans on Agile, technically we have almost zero, almost nothing. We never go with say, until I not have a plan and I get started. We are flexible, we keep moving forward, we keep accommodating those changes. But the reason why we do that, because if we're making changes, that will deliver more value to the customer, to the business. So that's the real justification now, that instead of the waterfall is a disaster. A change is a disaster because that will impact your baselines. And if it's impacting the baselines, there is some deviation, either the scope, the schedule, of the cost. Okay?
Makes sense. Thank you.
Excellent. Good. Anyone has any question with this lovely drag and drop? And as you guys can see, it's also kind of generating lots of good discussions. All righty. In that case, we're going to do another one. And another one is full-blown waterfall related, where we need to move the certain processes / inputs, outputs into the right-hand side, into the big process groups itself. In a single bucket, there can be more added, not just whatever is fitting into the bucket, but we do very much the same as we did before. So again, is there any brave volunteer who would like to get started with this activity?
I can do one.
Alicia, that's awesome. Yeah, pick one.
Yes. Develop team.
Mm-hmm.
I would say planning.
Are you really sure?
Or initiative.
Because developing team is going to come in execution.
Okay.
Because it is correlated to your resource management plan. First, I need to have a resource management plan in planning to accommodate the team and develop the team. So that's why it's actually been in execution itself. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Can you do maybe two more?
I'll try. Project charter.
Mm-hmm.
It's either planning or executing.
Well, that is actually been in initiating, because
Initiating.
so what we have first, so every project will have a business case, which will be the justification to the existence of the project. Once we have the business case, we can develop a project charter, which the key important thing for a project charter is to nominate the project manager, that from now on we have a responsible person. Now, the PMI way of thinking is that once I have the charter, I have a responsible person, I can go and develop all the plans in details, because the charter is always going to be high level, and then I'm going next and actually trying to, going into details as much as I can in terms of planning perspective. Okay.
Okay. I've been in
Good
too
stuff.
many meetings. Okay. I
Okay.
think I'm done. I gotta go back
No,
to
that's
my
fine.
books. Thank you.
Thanks for speaking up. Anyone who would like to take, pick one or two from here? Practice guide. Yeah, that's right. That's a good resource out there. Very good. Okay.
I'll throw stakeholder register into planning.
Are you really sure?
Well, when you question me like that, Gabor, then I'm going to say no. Then I'm going to put it into initiating.
Well, in that case, you just simply need to go with initiating, because when we are initiating the project, we have only three things: the charter, the assumption log, and the stakeholder register. Because upfront in the beginning, we need to know whom are those people we're going to deal with. Now, the key contributor to this is going to be the sponsor, because how on earth you should know that whom are those stakeholders since
Great.
you've just been nominated into this. Okay.
Mm-hmm. We'll throw cost baseline into planning.
Very well done. Can you do one more?
I want to put past projects learned into executing.
And why you would like to do that into execution?
Because as we're executing the project, we're learning lessons, or I don't think we're doing that at the end. We're doing it as we're executing the project.
That's actually been a good point, because the lessons learned is created here in execution. So your own lessons learned register is created in execution. But in that case, what the heck the past project lessons learned are actually being used for and coming from? Because according to PMI, you have lessons learned all the way through. But the logic is created on a way that in planning, I have all the past project lessons learned incorporated into my plans to make my plan the very best of the best of the best. Now, as soon as I start execution, I try to see that whatever I cooked, is it working? Is it tasteful? Is it, I'm not going to die or something? And then you can log all your own lessons learned, which will be someone else's future lessons learned, which they will use it as a past project lessons learned. So that's
Makes
how
sense.
the circle works. Okay. Maybe one more. Okay. In that case, thank you very much, Sasha. We appreciate your contribution into this one. I think that was very useful. Anyone would like to finish off this remaining 3 or 4 or 5? Because what this exercise is really trying to help you, Jake Kishan, you can go ahead, is that if you understand that how the processes are going into the flow, and for that explanation, you can go into YouTube and you can look for Mr. Ricardo Vargas PEM Book 6 video, Now, it still has some relevancy because in the current new updated version of the 49 processes, it is actually been still the same, but without knowledge area. So I'm going to put the guy name into the chat, which you can look for. So YouTube, Pembroke 6, Ricardo Vargas, you're going to find like an hour explanation where the guy is going to give you an explanation of why things are working the way they're working. And that will also help you to enable to better understand the processes. Okay? Jake Kishan, you can go ahead.
Requirement traceability metrics is in planning phase.
Absolutely. That's very well done.
Then risk auditing is in monitor and control.
Very well done.
And rolling wave planning, again, it's a part of planning.
Very well done.
If I have a small amount of scope is clear, then I can go for rolling wave planning.
And the bonus question is, so how many waves you can have? Wave 1, wave 2.
I don't want to go for much amount of rolling wave plan. Mainly 2 or 3. That will be the max.
But theoretically, can you do 10?
Ideally, we can do, but what it will happen, I'm unable to speak the concept.
No, that's fine. So you're saying you can have more than, well, you can even have 10 waves, but ideally you should have very few, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you're trying to say. Very well done. And I think,
Exactly.
Is absolutely great explanation, Jay Kishan, on this one, because the rolling wave planning is I would say this was the very first very agile way of doing things, because you not wait for all the requirements to be ready. Instead, whatever you have available, you get started. Now, but who set the threshold of when we're going to get started is all set by the project manager / the project team. Now, theoretically, you can do multiple waves. There is nobody will hold you back, but you need to be remembered that technically you're not doing anything else than creating, let's say, if you have 10 waves, 10 mini projects for yourself. At any given time, you might gonna have, I don't know, 5 in execution, 2 almost closing. So your attention will be split, and each wave represents a critical path, which again, as per PMI, a project manager should have only one. You can have a project which has more, but your attention or intention is to try to minimize that into a single critical path, because that's the way how you're going to be able to manage that in the right way. So same as with this rolling wave planning, again, you can do a lot of waves in the end, but you need to be realistic. Otherwise, it's going to kind of kill you on a day-to-day basis, because you have to deal with so many different things, so many different times. Okay. Perfecto. So we have 2 more left, which is going to be the EMV and the tornado diagram. Now, anyone would like to finish this off? So we have 2 more, tornado diagram and the EMV, which is not the EVM. Okay, now in that case, I will finish this one. These 2 are, or Artris, you would like to give it a try?
How you know I was about to speak up?
You wanted to speak up? So?
Yeah, so I'm gonna try EMV. That's earned measured value, right?
Well, that's expected monetary value.
Expected monetary value.
Because what you mentioned, that's the earned value management, that's the EVM. Now, EMV is also part of planning. So I'm going to put here in planning, but this is related to risk management.
Got it.
Because the EMV goes that we quantifying the risk, which is I take the probability of a risk multiplied by the impact. So a 50% probability of a risk, which has 100K impact, I'm going to have a risk which represents a risk of 50K. That's why you're doing it. Okay?
Got it.
And then what about the tornado? Do you remember the tornado?
I'm going to take a stab at it. Is it monitoring and controlling?
This is also in planning, and this is also related to risk management. Because what I do, once I have the EMV calculation, I take it to the next level and I visualize my top risks. And the top risk visualization goes with the tornado diagram. And how the tornado diagram looks like is that so one side I have a positives, other side I have the negatives, and then here you have the different bar charts which are highlighting your top risks. And This is something which you include your weekly status report, and is easy to understand for the management to see, because they know that everything which is negative, they would like to minimize. Everything positive, they would like to simply maximize. So that is something which is happening out there. And because of the shape of this one, it has this, this tornado-like look.
Mhm.
Even though once I had a student and she mentioned it's more like a six-pack ab, but whatever you see on the screen, just leave it to you. But that's a tornado diagram. All right. Thank you very much for this one, Artris. Now, anyone has any questions? I think we went through lots of details with that drag and drop, and I think it was really, really useful. Now, if you're looking for some advice of what is the best way for you to prepare for the CAPM exam, and you wanted to have a quick discussion even about, planning or resources or materials or how things are going in your end, feel free to take the advantage. You can actually book a free half-an-hour call with me. Yeah, happy to have a discussion with you